Good morning. Today, we will learn how to use conditional statement in if, else if, and else statement. For today's learning objective, at the end of the lecture, the students will be able to 1. Use conditional statements in Python. 2. Solve problems with multiple conditions using Python. And 3. We will create a Python program with the aid of a flowchart. Let's start with for our first topic, the simple conditions. The following statements are simple conditions that can be used in our topic. Okay, take note. In the first statement, this is 2 is less than 5. This is actually a condition that will result to a false, a true statement. Okay, take note. Conditions are Boolean type, meaning to say the result will either be true or false. Let's try the first statement. So I will type here, okay, 2 is less than 5. Now if I run the code, 2 is less than 5, it will return a Boolean type statement. Like for example, is 2 less than 5? Okay. It will take some time because this is the first time that we will run the code, especially after loading Google Colab. Okay, that's it. No, 2 is less than 5, which is true, of course. Okay, that is why it returns a Boolean mm, type. But since this is a Boolean type statement, it will return a Boolean value. It's either true or it's either false. Let's try. Another statement, we have 3 is greater than 7. We can say 3 is greater than 7. So, obviously, no, 3 is greater than 7. Obviously, it's false. Right. So, that is, it returns Boolean statement. So, take note of the next one. This is x is equal to 11. X equal to 11 is not a condition statement. Okay, x equals to 11 is an assignment, so we will fix this one. Okay. Okay. I will fix this by putting equal sign. So this is using double equal sign. Okay, so it means x now is equal to 11. um, it checks for the equality. Like for example, is x really equal to 11? We don't know since x is a variable. So let's try to put a value on x. Let's say x equals 5. Is it equal to 11? So, okay, is 5 equal to 11? So you are asking a question. Okay, let's try. Of course, it's false. X is not equal to 11. Now, if I change the value of x to 11, the result will be yes, it's true. X is equals to 11 or 11 is equal to 11. That's how you use conditional statement here. Like for example, let's have another one. It's 1 plus 2 times 3 equal to, let's say, equal to 10. What do you think? Okay, let's try. So this statement on the left follows the order of operation. So it will multiply first the two numbers, that becomes 6, plus 2, that becomes 8. So 8 now is not equal to 10. So the answer here is false. Okay? Alright. So that's it for the simple conditions. Now let's go to compound conditions. So like for example, a compound condition is joined by or and or both. We have and or and. So this is a compound condition. So when we say compound condition, no, it joins one or more or two or more conditions. Like for example, let's have the first statement. I have here x equals 2. Let's say the value of x is 3. let's say 3 is equals 2, or take note of the word or, of y is less than 5. Let's say y is 3, which is less than 5. Okay. So, if this is the case, no, it will first um, evaluate 3 is equals to 2. Is 3 equals to 2? What do you think? So the answer is obviously not equal. So that's false. Or is 3 less than 5? That's true. So if you have false or true, what will be the result? That's right. That is obviously true. Okay? So or here means you have to add. Okay? False in logic means 0. Okay? True in logic means 1. So if you are going to put 0 or 1, means you're going to add the value. So 0 plus 1 is 1. Okay, you have to add the logic. So that's it for the first statement. Like for example, if they are both, okay, if this will result false and this is also false, now the result will always be false. Take note of the logic. So false or false is false, true or false is true, false and true is true, and true is always true. Like for example, if I have here 2 and 2, 2 is equals to 2, which is true, and let's say 6 is greater than 5, which is also true, so the result will always be true. Or shall we say this is true and this is false? So let's have this as 1. Is 1 greater than 5? No, it's false. So we have false here and we have true here. The result will always be true. So that's it for the or statement here. Now we go to the end statement. What is this end statement? Like for example, okay, take note for the or statement. Okay, so for the or statement, any any of the conditions will result to true, the result will always be true. Okay, for the end statement, it should the result will always be true if both conditions, okay, are true. Let's try. I will change this to end. So this is true and this is false, right? So the result will be false because it's and. When we say and, the two conditions should be, uh, should be true, so that the final result will be true. Like for example, if I'm going to change this one, 3 is equal to, and let's say 8 is greater than 5. This is false. This is true. So the result will always be false. If this is true and this is true, the result will be true. So for end statement, both of the conditions should be true so that the output will be true. Alright. So that's it for the compound statement. Okay. So take note. Now you can use one or more conditions here. Okay. Like for example, in the third statement, you have here x equals to 0 and y is greater than 0, or okay, y is greater than 25 and x should not be equal to 0. Okay. So you will encounter this later. Okay. Now we go to our simple if statement. So the general Python syntax for a simple if statement, okay, is, so for Python you have here if, then your condition followed by your colon. So take note, you have here your indentation. So meaning to say, all statement that is indented after the if statement now is part of the if block. Okay, take note of that. That is part of the if block. Okay, so this is the indented statement block. So that is for the if condition. So let's demonstrate that by solving this problem. So this problem no, was presented to you no, in the first video. So let's read the problem first. Prompt the user. So this is the user no, to enter two numbers. To enter two numbers. So delete A there. So to enter two numbers, display the sum if it is greater than 10. So we are going to prompt the user to enter two numbers, and we are going to display the sum if it is greater than 10. So we will create a program, a Python program out of this flow chart. So remember, this is our flow chart. To start our program, we have here the start function. So after the start block, start block. So after the start block, we are going to input two numbers. Okay. Now we are going to label the numbers as A and B. Let's say A and B equals 2. Okay. So I will put eval here. So input. Okay. Because I will be reading two numbers. This is my statement. Enter two numbers separated by comma. By a comma. Okay. So this is my first statement. Now, this is actually what happens in the input block. So if you will notice here, input two numbers. Okay, input two numbers. So this is how I read the value of the numbers and store that to A and B. Okay. Now the next block will be the process block. So according to the process block, we are going to add the numbers. So we don't have a variable here, so I will just say sum. That is the sum of two numbers is equals to A plus B. That's the sum of two numbers. Okay. Now we go to the next block, which is the decision block. So according to the problem, if the sum is greater than 10, then display the sum. If it is less than 10, do nothing and then end the program. So I will put here an if statement, and my condition is if the sum is greater than 10. Okay, that's how you put your condition. And don't forget to put a semicolon. Press enter. Now it is automatically indented once you press enter from the colon. I mean. Now, in the colon, see inside your if block, if the sum is greater than 10, then we will have this output block. So the output block displays the sum. So it actually displays the sum if the sum is greater than 10. So to display the sum, we need a print statement. So we can say the sum. Okay, the sum is, okay, let's solve the sum. Sum. Okay, the sum is sum. Okay, that's how you put your. That's how you display the value of the sum. Now, to exit the if statement, just press delete. So you will notice that if and this cursor aligns now. So when it aligns, it means now this is not part of the if block. Okay. So meaning to say the if state inside the if block you have here now print the sum. Okay, that's it. So then end the code. So you don't need to put end here. Okay? In Python we don't use end statement. Okay. Now run the code, and you will be prompted to enter two numbers separated by a comma. Like for example, 4 and 5. 4 and 5, the sum is 9. Then okay, we don't have any output because from our block, from our flow chart, if the sum is less than 10, it's actually going to end. So the program will going to end. So you have here do nothing and then end the program. Let's try again. Let's input numbers that is greater than the sum of two numbers that's greater than 10. Let's say 10 and 5. So 10 and 5, obviously it is equal to 15. So this is greater than 10, therefore it will display the sum. Enter. Okay, the sum is 15. So that's it no, for this example problem. Take note no, of the typo. So here now prompt the user. So add R here to enter, remove A, two numbers. Okay. Okay. Now we go to if else statement. So technically, no, or generally, the Python syntax for if else statement. So you have here your if condition, and then inside your if condition is your indented statement block for if the condition is true. Else, if the condition is not true, no, it will go to else, and then it will perform this conditional block statement. This will be the indented statement block for false condition. So it will perform simple code in the when the value or when the condition is false or when the condition is true. Let's try. Let's try to analyze this problem. So I will read the problem. Prompt the user to enter two numbers. Now remove A here. Okay, A should not be here. A and B. Now if A is greater than B, then display the sum. Else display the difference. Okay, so if A is greater than B, then we are going to display the sum. If otherwise, no, then display the difference of two numbers. So we will just follow what is written here in our flowchart. Now we will convert this flowchart into a Python code. So in the first block, we are going to input two numbers here. No? We will be using the same statement in the previous problem. You can say eval, and then we have here input, and then we will prompt the user input. We will prompt the user to enter. Okay, enter two numbers. I will just put two numbers here. So two numbers separated by comma. By a comma. Okay, so here you have to input two numbers separated by comma. Then the values now will be stored now in the variable A and B. Okay, the first number you have entered will be stored to A. The second number will be stored to B. That's how you use the comma notation in getting or storing the value to a certain variable. Okay, now the next one is the condition statement. So according to the condition block, is A greater than B? So it is actually asking if A is greater than B. Now if A is greater than B, if it is true, then we are going to add the two numbers. Okay, and then display the sum. So we are going to add two numbers. I can say sum is equals to A plus B. So that's how you add two numbers. And then we are going to display using the print function. I'm going to display the sum. Okay, the sum is, okay, comma, put comma here, sum. Okay, that's how you print the sum if A is greater than B. Now I will remove the indentation, and then I will insert our next condition. Else, if A is greater than B, then do this. Else, you are going to subtract two numbers. So the difference, meaning to say, in this else condition, this is B is greater than A, right? Okay. But using else statement, you don't need to put the condition. So meaning to say, if this condition is true, do this. Okay, if this condition is false, then perform what is inside your else statement. Okay, in your else statement, we are going to take the difference. Okay, so this is just B minus A. The difference is just b minus a, and then we will print the difference of two numbers. Okay. Okay, I will just copy this, paste it here, and then change this to difference. Okay, let's say there, and then their sum is, the difference is, I will use diff as my difference. Then that's it. The program ends after we display the sum or the difference. Let's try. Run the code. Let's say I have here 10, comma 5, meaning to say 10 will be stored in A, 5 will be stored in B. Since A is greater than 5, then it will add the two numbers and then it will print their sum. So when I press enter, it will display the sum. So the sum is, or their sum is 15. Okay, let's try again using another set of numbers. Let's say my A is 3, my B is 8. So meaning to say B is greater than 3, okay, or A is less than B, meaning to say the condition is false, no? Then it will perform this statement. So it will take the difference and then print the difference, which is 5. So their difference is 5. So that's it. No? That's how um, if and else statement works. Okay. Now we go to the next um, statement. This is multiple test. So when you say multiple test, you have multiple conditions. And for multiple conditions, we use if and else if. This is how you write else if in Python. So else if or elif. Okay. So if that will be your first condition. Okay. In your middle condition, you have elif, and your last condition should be the else statement. So meaning to say else statement should be the last. Now, if none of this condition is true, then it will perform the statement block in the false condition. Okay, let's try to solve. Try to use this statement using this by solving this problem. Let me read the problem first. Prompt the user. Still, you have to add R here and remove A here. Enter two numbers. Two here is in the plain English. This is wrong. This is TWO. Two numbers A and B. If A is greater than B, then display A is greater than B. Now, if B is greater than A, then display B is greater than A. Else, you display A is equal to B. So technically, it actually compare. This program compares the two number. Okay, if the first number is greater than second number, it will just print the first number is greater than the second number. That's the analogy. If the numbers are equal, then it will just print the numbers are equal. Okay, now to start our solution, we are going to analyze the first input block here. So for the input block, we are going to read two numbers and then store the value to A and B. So I will be using the same code as the above problems. I'm going to put in eval, then input, then enter the value, enter the numbers separated. So you have to clearly prompt the user that it will use the comma to separate the numbers, separated by comma. Okay. So prompt the user to enter two numbers separated by comma. And then the next block is actually the conditional block. So in the conditional block, we will be first use the if statement, since that is the first condition. So take note, in the first condition, you use if statement. In the last condition, you have to use else. In the middle condition, you have to use else if statement or elif. Okay. So if not A is greater than B, then we will perform this one. We will print, okay? We will notify the user that A is greater than B. So in this case, I will be using the curly bracket. That's for my A. Now is greater than uh, than B. So another curly bracket for my B. Then I will put here format. So format A comma B. Okay, now that's it for our first statement. Then in the next statement or in the next block, you have here still the conditional block. So in the conditional block, you have here else if. So else if, no, if B is greater than A, okay, if B is greater than A, then we will print. So in this case, no, in this case, I will be using the curly bracket also. Take note, this is B is greater than A. So is greater than A, not A, but curly bracket. In this case, now the format, the first curly bracket, that is the value of B, and the second will be the value of your A. That's it. And the last statement will be else. Else means now if the conditions are not true for the first condition and the second condition, then you have to perform the else statement. So in the else statement, you can say print, okay, this value, okay, I will just put quotation here. This value is equal to this value. So this value is actually your A and B. This is A comma B. Okay, then the program will end. So let's try. So you are going to enter the first number, let's say 5. Enter the second number, let's say 6. Now obviously 6 is greater than 5. Okay, 6 is greater than 5. So that's it for the numbers. Now let's try again. Let's say I have here 10 is greater than 5. So this is 10 is greater than 5. Let's try if the numbers are equal. Say 10 and 10. So 10 is equal to 10. So that's it for uh, the example here. Now we go to the nested if, no, else if, else statement. So for the nested if statement, you have here your if condition. No? If this is true, then you are going to perform all of this. So meaning to say, inside this first condition, you have another condition. Okay? So this is if statement inside the if statement, or it can be inside the else statement. Oh, so that's it. Now let's demonstrate the use of this by solving this problem. So take note, take note of this. We are actually creating a code, by using this flowchart. So the code that we are creating here is based on the flowchart. So in the first block, that is to enter a number, which is one number, let's say n. So I will use this n as a variable. So we can say eval. So eval accepts integer and float values. Okay, eval. So input. So enter a number. Let's say enter a number greater than 0. Okay, enter a number greater than 0. Okay, that will be your statement. Enter a number greater than 0. And then this first condition, we can say if n is greater than 0. Okay, if n is greater than 0, then we will identify if the number is odd or even. Okay. We already did that in our previous activity using the percent sign. No? Percent sign is used, no, to determine the remainder, no, if a number is divided by that number. Okay. Let's try. Let's try the if statement. Now if, okay, n, I will use this percent sign, okay, divided by 2. So this is how you use this is how you identify if the number is what we call odd or even. Like for example, if n is, take note this division, modulo division. Let's try it here. Let's say 4 modulo 2. It means it will divide, no, 4 by 2, but it will just print the remainder. Okay? So 4 divided by 2 is 2 remainder 0. That's right. So the result is 0. If I'm going to put here 5, meaning if this is 0, meaning the number 4 here is even. Okay? So if this is 5 modulo division by 2, the result is 2 remainder 1. So here, the remainder is, it will retain, it will return, no, the value of the remainder. Okay? So we will be using that modulo division, okay, in this case. So this is n modulo 2. It means, no, if the number here is even, no, the result will be 0. So we will be comparing that to 0. So no need to put parentheses here. We will just say, okay, if I'm going to divide n by 2, the result should be 0. So if that's the case, then this is, the number is even. So print, okay, the number, okay, I will use curly bracket here, is even. And then format, okay, and that's it. Else, let's put it here, else, if, no, n modulo 1, n modulo 2 is not equal to 0, then we go to else statement. Then in the else statement, it will print, okay, the number, okay, is not off, but odd number. Okay, then we are going to use format, and okay, that is the else, if else statement inside your if statement. Okay, else, so else, no, if, okay, take note, if n is greater than 0, then do this. Okay, if n is not greater than 0, then perform what's inside the else statement. So press enter according to the problem. Now, if the number is not greater than 0, then it will display enter a number greater than 0. So we will print, okay, enter. Okay, I will write it here, enter a number greater, okay, than 0. Alright, so let's try, and take note, this is the end of our code. So let's try to run this code. Okay, let's enter the number greater than 0. Let's say I will be using 9. So is 9 odd or even? So 9 is an odd number. So it will just display, okay, number 9 is odd. Okay? Or you can say 9 is an odd number. Okay? Alright, so let's try again. Let's input another value. Let's say 10. So 10 modulo 2 is 0. That's the remainder. So the number 10 is even. So that's how you write your code, or that's how you identify if the number is odd or even. Let's say I will enter a number 0. Okay. Since now, according to the problem, we need to enter a number greater than 0, what will be printed here? So you will be prompted to enter a number greater than 0. Now, that's how you put your program, no, to notify the user that they have entered a wrong value. Okay. Now, for our next solution here, we will be solving the same problem, but this time, no, we will be using multiple conditions. Okay, we will be using multiple conditions. We can do that. No? We can actually create a multiple conditions. No, that is, if n is greater than zero, and if the remainder, no, is equal to zero, then we will print this value. So let's start. No? I will just copy the code here, that is to enter the value of a number greater than 0 and store the two variable n. Using the if statement, take note I will be using multiple conditions. So if, no, n is greater than 0, okay, this time I will be using n so that, no, both the conditions should be true, and no, n modulo 2 is equal to 0. But meaning to say, hmm, if n is greater than 0 and n, no, and the remainder of if divided by 2 is 0, then it will print, okay, the number is even. I will just copy this one, copy this, paste it here. The number is even. Okay. Next, I will put else if, okay, if n is greater than 0, okay, and a number, no, when divided by 2 or modulo divided by 2, the result is not 0. Take note, the result is not 0. That's how you put not 0, not equal. Okay. Then we are going to print a even or add. Then the number is add. Okay. Else, no, if none of this condition is true, then we will print enter the number greater than 0. Okay. Control V. So this is the same, no, program, no, from the previous code. In this previous code, we used okay, we use this type of statement. We use this nested if condition or if statement. So in the second solution, we use multiple conditions. Okay, let's try if this will be correct. So I will input a number, let's say 9. Okay, the result should be add, right? So 9 is greater than 0, and 9 is not, 9 modulo 2 is not equal to 0. So it will display this statement. So press enter. Okay, the number 9 is add number. Okay, let's try again. Let's input 10. The number 10 is even. Let's input a number which is less than 1 or less than 0. We can say -1. So you will be prompted to enter a number greater than 0. Technically, this code is the same, no, as this code. Only that this one uses nested if statement, and this one uses a change statement, but it uses multiple conditions. Okay, so I hope now you've learned something from the demonstration on how Python program, no, is created out of this flowchart. Okay, what is important here is to know how to create a flowchart, because flowchart is your guide on creating a Python code. But no, if you are good enough, no, if you are really good in solving the problem without creating a flowchart, that would be a really a very good skill. So that skill, can only be improved, by practicing solving the problem. You know. Okay, that's it. Okay, take note. No, I will be posting a lot of practice problem and try to solve that practice problem. No, first, by creating a flowchart, and then from the flowchart, you are going to create a Python code. No, after you have mastered that one, you can now easily create. You can directly create a Python code, without a flowchart. You can do that. No? Practice makes perfect. So remember, no, to be good in programming, you have to do programming. Okay, so thank you for listening, and I will see you in my next video.